member of the Livingstone Street Early Learning Community, I was asked to write a blog post. And I wrote it, presented it to the board of directors, my fellow board of directors, and they were so excited about it that they asked me to turn it into a video. So this is that video. The title of my blog is I'm 4 years old. My experience with preschool students was relegated to the Bill Cosby skit about a plane ride with a young man named Jeffrey. In that scenario, Jeffrey's mother was constantly yelling at him, "Jeffrey, Jeffrey, Jeffrey," as if that strategy would magically make Jeffrey act like a grown-up. Jeffrey's only comment was, "I'm 4 years old. I'm 4 years old." With that bit of experience under my belt, I entered the world of the preschooler. It began when my daughter-in-law asked me to be on the board of directors of the Livingstone Street Early Childhood Community in Kingston, New York. My granddaughter was enrolled, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to get involved for a couple of years. I had no idea that it would become much more than that. During one meeting, Cheryl, the head teacher and director of the program, asked if I would mind volunteering every other week, a foster grandparent of sorts. After mulling it over, I thought, how hard can this be? Babysitting for a couple of hours every other Tuesday? I had some experience in education. I had been a teacher, special ed teacher, of adolescents with emotional disorders, and a high school administrator. I'm currently a graduate school of education professor at Touro College in Manhattan, teaching teachers of all levels. So I figured I had plenty of experience and educational savvy to handle anything a 4-year-old could dish out. Could it be any worse than the cafeteria food fight I had to break up in my last job? I arrived at my first day on time. The children had already been there. I'm sure Cheryl had a little trepidation about me coming in, being a doctor of education. How intimidating is that? I'm sure she figured she would indoctrinate me into the preschool world quickly. She pointed over to a small area where a wooden train set was arranged, much like the one pictured here. And there were several cars with magnetic couplings and a set of tracks neatly connected. I settled in, ready to watch a group of nice kids play. It wasn't long before I had the feeling I'd been set up. This was a special school, no one told me. I soon realized that these children all had issues. Over there, 2 of them were trying to go in opposite directions, neither one giving ground. "I was here first," one said. Hey, they know number order, I thought. After a little negotiating, I got them to understand the concept of taking turns. Don't they teach that here, I wondered? On another section of track, 2 other children were arguing over a blue-colored engine with a smiley face. "I want it," said a little girl. "I had it first," retorted the current owner. Again, Judge Tommy intervened. While behind me, another pair were rearranging the tracks just as a 3rd child was chugging around the bend. That's when I thought putting 7 4-year-olds together during free play was not a good idea. In reflecting on those first moments, I wondered if Cheryl was trying to tell me something, a bit of foreshadowing perhaps. I was the only adult male in the room, and as my time grew there, I don't think I was the grandfather figure I had envisioned. Sitting in the rocking chair, reading Go, Dog, Go to an eager little one. Oh, I did read stories, but with 3 boys on my lap and a 4th one jockeying for a little space. Bruno, not his real name, thought I was his personal assistant, dragging me from activity to activity. They all had ADHD, I thought. "No," said Faith, the teaching assistant. "That is how normal 4-year-olds act." Was I too old to remember my own kids when they were that age? We had to train them in all kinds of what I thought were innate behaviors, taking turns, not hurting one's feelings, using your words, sharing. I wasn't trained for this. Just when I started to feel comfortable with the children, supervising them inside, watching them closely outdoors, I learned that every day we go outside. I would arrive at school in January and inform Cheryl that it was 18 degrees out. I decided that she suffered from selective deafness. We went out despite my protest. That's when I learned that 4-year-olds have a condition known as temperature insensitivity. As I watched them roll down the snow-covered hill that was next to our building, and I shivered under 4 layers of clothing. This is not right, I thought. Some parent is going to wander by and threaten us with a lawsuit. Well, I survived those early days and reluctantly decided that it was particularly not easy work. I had a lot to learn, the professor being the student. Is it okay if I do this? I would sheepishly ask. Can Bruno do this? What's the rule for that again? Should I be letting them sit on my lap? So many questions. Is this what Piaget did? I might have to go back and revisit him. Meanwhile, I am just going to hunker down and try to immerse myself in the world of a 4-year-old.